I thought one of the more entertaining things on Saturday was Joey Gase picking up a bumper cover. Not just picking up, tearing it off the back of his car, Shane, and then chucking it at Dawson Cram. The only problem with it is he walked onto a hot track to throw it, but I thought his aim was good. I thought, he got a good launch, but it's one of those. Here's the thing. It's one of those moments that will be replayed over and over and over again.
Exactly. And the Truck Series has had more than its share of those moments since I started covering the sport. And the Xfinity races always tend to be, you have the up-and-coming Cup drivers, you maybe have good racing, or it's what. And I feel like you don't have something like that happening for the most part. And so, middle of the race, Joey Gase, like you said, walks onto a hot racetrack, rips off his bumper. And the fact that what was the sponsor again that was on that bumper?
That's one way to take flight out of crime.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, the way that he did it without his gloves too. Did you notice that he did it without his gloves on? And those things are sharp, So glad Joey didn't get cut, but and McGriff, he supported his driver. So I mean, that's but look, the fact of the matter is we both know Joey Gase works hard on his race car to keep his team together. That was a car he was planning to take to Martinsville this weekend. He was planning to take 2 cars to Martinsville this weekend. May not only be able to take one because of what happened. It was I think in the moment, the best way he understood to have his frustration. Dawson Cram was one of the first drivers that Joey Gase had put in one of his race cars. So I think that there was a little bit of he was upset that he got turned by a driver that knows the situation that he's in, right? And, Dawson did go over and talk to Joey. I think you were there. Were you there when he went over and talked?
Well, I wasn't over there.
Oh, you weren't? Okay, so I do know that Dawson went over and talked to Joey at the end of the race and apologized profusely.
Did he give his bumper cover back?
I think it was delivered to Johnny Davis Motorsports on Monday. So, but both drivers agreed to disagree, right? You're going to have that. And, we'll see what happens at Martinsville this weekend. Will Joey Gase give Dawson a little payback or not? So we've seen Martinsville be a place where a little bit payback happens. It's unfortunate because it destroyed the race car.
Yeah.
But, okay, boys have it. It's like a boys have at it moment. If I feel like, where names are really made here on this past Saturday.
Well, that's the thing. The moments like that, unfortunately, it takes away from, what Chandler Smith was able to accomplish. Yeah. Another win for him. And he's really an up-and-coming star right now in this sport. It takes away from him. We're not talking about him. We're talking about Joey Gase throwing the bumper cover. But it's still one of those moments that stands out that like I said, you're going to see it over and over again.
Well, and those that know Joey knows that's not his character, right? Yeah. That's not the Joey Gase. Joey Gase is a more reserved, very quiet, very just let me do my job kind of driver, right? But it just shows the level, I think, of frustration and the anger of knowing, what his, it was not like, they were both on different laps too. So they weren't racing for position, right? So I think that's what frustrated Joey a little bit more too, right? Is your lack of impatientness cost me a race car, right? And I'm sure if the roles were reversed, Shane, they would be equally upset.
Yeah, and like you said, Brett, no matter what, we're going to be talking about that for years to come. That's going to be something that's played over and over again. And if you don't know about NASCAR, you might come across that and be like, oh, yeah, I remember that guy threw his bumper or whatever. And that's going to resonate with you more than maybe anything that happens all season for some people who might not even follow the sport as closely. But again, it needs to have moments like that to resonate with just different, even people don't within the sport. It has to have a moment like that. And, we'll always associate that with Joey Gase now. And like you said, I think it's an important point that it does really take away from what Chandler Smith has been able to accomplish this year. I mean, 22 years old, now full-time with Joe Gibbs Racing, really one of their up-and-coming drivers. And not just Richmond, but a couple of weeks back, he had a pretty dominant win as well. And he, really, like you said, an up-and-coming guy, 22, and in that role with JGR, which has a lot of up-and-coming drivers, and now Eric Almirola kind of really running that development program from, where he originally started.
On the other side, Sheldon Creed is begging for something to go right, at Joe Gibbs Racing. He is a driver who many were surprised that he leaped over, left RCR to go to Joe Gibbs Racing, and they expected many good things. And at this point of the season, Sheldon Creed has found himself in a worse position than he was at RCR. I'm not blaming Sheldon, I'm not blaming the team, but there's a huge disconnect, and they've really got to get the act together. I think Sheldon Creed come over the radio, said this was the third race in a row where we've rolled off the truck and we're complete junk. And, so you saw another driver venting his frustration, not because he wrecked, but because he's having a miserable season, where he looks at his teammate, Chandler Smith, who comes over there after a miserable season at Colleague Racing and is just lighting the world on fire. So where there's one person's having the best year of his life and the other one's having the absolute worst.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well,